Hi everyone. Chapters 23 and 24 today. The girls have managed to get the book back from the Golden Glen, so now we have to find out what's next. Outside in front of the Golden Glen, Louisiana was holding the book, and Beverly was sitting on the curb, and Raymie was standing and staring at nothing at all. You said I wouldn't be any help, said Louisiana, but I found the book, and I retrieved the book, and I freed the bird. No one told you to free the bird, said Beverly. Yes, said Louisiana, that part was extra, an extra good deed. Raymie's heart thudded somewhere deep inside of her. Good deeds, good deeds. She was so far behind on good deeds that she did not think she would ever catch up. You, said Beverly, but whatever she intended to say next was interrupted by the appearance of the Elefante station wagon. It came careening down Borton Street, emitting great clouds of black smoke. Look, said Raymie, this was an entirely unnecessary directive. It would have been impossible to miss seeing the car. The station wagon pulled up to the curb and screeched to a stop. A piece of decorative wood paneling was peeling off and hanging at an odd angle. It flapped back and forth thoughtfully. Get in, shouted Louisiana's grandmother. She's right behind me. There's not a moment to waste. Is it Marcia Jean? Said Louisiana. Is she hot on our trail? Hurry, shouted the grandmother. All of you. All of us? Asked Raymie. Don't just stand there, shouted the grandmother. Get in the car. Get in the car, get in the car, shouted Louisiana. She hopped up and down. Hurry, Marcia Jean is hot on our trail. Beverly looked at Raymie. She shrugged. She walked toward the station wagon and opened the back door. You heard her, said Beverly. She held the door open. Hurry up, there's not a moment to waste. Come on, said Louisiana. She climbed into the station wagon. Raymie got in after her, and Beverly got in last. She slammed the door shut, and it immediately popped back open. The car accelerated so quickly that they were all thrown back against the seat. The broken door slammed shut and then opened again. Oh, my goodness, said Louisiana. Here we go. And they went. Chapter 24. Louisiana's grandmother did not believe in stop signs, or she did not see them, or maybe she did not think that they applied to her. Whatever the reason, the Elefante station wagon went past every stop sign without stopping or even slowing down very much. They were going very, very fast, and the car emitted a lot of noises. Screeches from the piece of loose wood siding, thumps from the door that would not stay closed, and a cacophony of mechanical grinding noises, the overworked and desperate sounds an engine makes when it has been pushed beyond its limits. Also, from the back seat, it was not possible to see Louisiana's grandmother's head, and so it seemed as if they were being driven around by an invisible person. It all felt like a dream. Don't worry, said Louisiana. Granny is the best there is. She has outwitted Marcia Jean every single time. Beverly snorted. At this point, the station wagon went faster, though a moment ago Raymie would have said that this was not possible. Raymie looked over at Beverly and raised her eyebrows. We're getting the heck out of Dodge, said Beverly. She grinned, displaying a chipped front tooth. Raymie wasn't sure, but she thought that it might be the same the first time she had seen Beverly Topinski really, truly smile. Louisiana laughed. We are, she said. We are leaving Dodge far behind. From the front seat, the invisible Granny laughed, and then Raymie was laughing too. Something was happening to her. Her soul was getting bigger and bigger and bigger. She could feel it lifting her off the seat almost. The trick with people like Marcia Jean, said Louisiana's grandmother, is to be forever wily, to fight back, to never give up or give in. The car went a little faster still. Raymie understood that technically she should be afraid. She was in a car that was being driven too fast by a person who was invisible. Plus, the car sounded like it might fall apart at any minute. But Louisiana was on one side of her, with her bunny barrettes and her sequins and the Florence Nightingale book in her arms, and Beverly was on the other side of her, bruised, grubby-handed, and smelling like some strange combination of motor oil and cotton candy. And there was a gigantic wind blowing into the car, and Raymie's soul was as big as it had ever been before, and she felt not one bit afraid. She turned to Beverly and said, You held Alice Nebley's hand. So what, said Beverly. She shrugged. She grinned again. She asked me to. I'm so happy, said Louisiana. All of a sudden I'm just filled with happiness. Should I sing, Granny? Of course you should sing, darling, said her grandmother. And so Louisiana started singing, Raindrops keep falling on my head, in the prettiest voice Raymie had ever heard. It sounded like an angel singing. Not that Raymie had ever heard an angel sing, but still, that was the way it sounded. Raymie listened and looked out the window at the stop signs rushing by. For some reason, even though the song wasn't a sad song, it made Raymie think of sad things. It made her think of the kitchen light in her house, the one over the stove, the one that her mother left on all night long. It made her think of how one time she had come out to the kitchen in the middle of the night for a drink of water and had seen her father sitting at the table with his head in his hands. He had not seen her, and Raymie had backed up slowly and gone back to bed without saying anything to him. What was he doing at the table alone with his head in his hands? She should have said something to him, but she had not. Louisiana finished singing, and her grandmother said, "It does my heart good to hear you sing, Louisiana. It makes me believe that all will be well." "All will be well, Granny," said Louisiana. "I promise you. I'm going to win that contest, and we will be rich as Croesus." "You are the best granddaughter an old woman could have, or could hope for. And now, will you just look where we are?" "Home," said Louisiana. "Yes," said her grandmother. The car slowed down and turned off the paved road and onto a dirt road. "We can all have some tuna fish together," said Louisiana. "Oh, boy," said Beverly. And then they were at the end of the dirt road, and a gigantic house was in front of them. The front porch was sagging, and the chimney was tilted to one side, as if it were considering something important. Some of the windows were boarded up. "Come on," said Louisiana. "We're here." "Really?" said Beverly. "Yes," said Louisiana's grandmother. "We've outsmarted Marcia Jean, and we're home." This is a short chapter, so let's go ahead and do 3 chapters today. 25. In the kitchen, there were several towering piles of empty tuna fish cans. The walls were painted green, and for the first time, Raymie stood face to face with the grandmother. It was like looking at Louisiana in a funhouse mirror. The grandmother's hair was gray, and her face was wrinkled, but other than that, she looked exactly like her granddaughter. She was tiny, not much taller than Louisiana, and she too had bunny barrettes in her hair, which was strange because you did not necessarily think that old people wore barrettes. "Welcome, welcome," said the grandmother, spreading her arms wide. "Welcome to our humble abode." "Yes," said Louisiana, "welcome." "Thank you," said Raymie. Beverly shook her head. She wandered out of the kitchen and into the living room. "It's such a pleasure to make the acquaintance of Louisiana's best friends," said the grandmother to Raymie. "Me?" said Raymie. "Oh, yes, you. It's Raymie this and Raymie that all the livelong day. It must be wonderful to be idolized so. Now, just let me locate the can opener," the grandmother said, "and we will all have ourselves a tuna fish feast." "Oh, my goodness," said Louisiana. "I love it when we have tuna fish feasts." "Where's the furniture?" asked Beverly. She was standing at the threshold to the kitchen. "I beg your pardon?" said Louisiana's grandmother. "I've been all over the house, and there's no furniture." "Well, why on earth are you going all over the house searching for furniture?" said Beverly. "That's exactly right," said the grandmother. "Maybe you could make yourself useful and find the can opener, since you enjoy searching for things so very much." "Okay," said Beverly. I guess so." She stepped into the kitchen and started opening and closing doors. "Oh," said the grandmother. She put both hands on her head. "I just now have a sudden recollection. The can opener is in the car." "It's in the car?" said Beverly. "Louisiana, run out there and get it for me, would you, darling? And do not return until you find it." "Yes, Granny," said Louisiana. Louisiana turned and left in a flash of orange and sequins and bunny barrettes. As soon as the screen door slammed shut behind her, the grandmother turned to Beverly and Raymie and pulled a can opener out of the sleeve of her dress. "Ta-da!" she said. "My father was a magician, the most elegant and deceitful man who ever lived. I learned a few things from him that I've found to be of some use. Sleights of hand, for instance, how to conceal things." She waggled her eyebrows. "Were Louisiana's parents really trapeze artists?" asked Raymie. "Were they the Flying Elefantes?" Beverly snorted. "The story of the Flying Elefantes is a story worth telling again and again," said the grandmother. "But is it true?" said Raymie. Louisiana's grandmother raised her left eyebrow and then her right one. She smiled. Beverly rolled her eyes. "What about Marcia Jean?" asked Raymie. "Is she real?" "Marcia Jean is the ghost of what's to come. It's good to be on the lookout for those who might do you harm. I need Louisiana to be cautious and wily. I won't always be here to protect her. She would have a very hard time if she ended up in a county home. I'm hoping that you two can keep an eye on her, that you'll protect her." The screen door slammed. "I looked everywhere, Granny," said Louisiana. "I can't find it." "No worries, darling. I've located it, and now we'll feast." The grandmother held up the can opener. She smiled. How could Raymie protect Louisiana? She didn't even know how to protect herself. We'll read chapter 26 tomorrow.